Good afternoon, everyone. This is an update on Tropical Storm Nicole for November 8th, 2022. That is expected to bring hurricane impacts to portions of the Bahamas and Florida. Now, as we get right into it here, this is the infrared satellite imagery that we're looking at this morning and afternoon. As you can see, we do have quite a bit of convection surrounding the center today. Definitely not strong convection, just kind of rain shower and weak thunderstorm activity happening here on the most of the west side of this center location. You can see some scattered thunderstorms popping up on the east side now. Definitely you can see a lot of this dry air just kind of reaching in there, and that's kind of going to open up the eye substantially. So we do have a dry circular area, which means we could possibly see some of that eye wall development later today. Here's the National Hurricane Center 5-day outlook here, and as you can see, there's Tropical Storm Nicole. This is no longer a subtropical. They have named it as a Tropical Storm Nicole here. This is as of 1:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You do have a disturbance that we're not really worried about right now because it only has a 30% chance of development, and it is in the middle of the Atlantic. The Tropical Storm Nicole currently has 60-mile-per-hour winds, a minimum central pressure of 992 millibars, and movement is west at 9 miles per hour. Here's that current forecast cone as of 1 p.m. advisory, and we did get a lot of hurricane warnings issued for the Bahamas. We also got hurricane warnings issued for the eastern coast of Florida. You have even tropical storm watches out for the western coast of Florida. Tropical storm warnings out in that blue color, so that's also including more of the Bahamas. Lake Okeechobee is under that tropical storm warning as well, even a hurricane watch for Lake Okeechobee. And look at this, look how wide the tropical storm winds are. This is a very large storm that's going to bring a very widespread impact to nearly the entire state of Florida. Once again, this is pretty much the size of Florida these tropical storm force winds are, and that's pretty much the entire back side of this storm. If this was expanding even to the front side of this storm, we would even have a larger swath of the tropical storm force winds. Let's get the timing on this. As you can see, by 7 a.m. Wednesday, it is expected to be starting making impacts on the Bahamas with those tropical storm force winds. Hurricane is expected by 7 p.m. Wednesday. By 7 a.m. Thursday, we could have a hurricane landfall there, pretty much in the middle of the east coast of Florida. And then by 7 p.m. Thursday, there will still be a tropical storm there, making impacts on pretty much the Tallahassee area. 7 a.m. Friday, more tropical storm impacts for Georgia and South Carolina, and that's when it speeds up with that jet stream in weekends from there. The entire East Coast could also see some of these impacts as well, mainly that rainfall, as we could definitely see a lot of rainfall throughout later this week, especially this upcoming weekend. That's going to be Saturday, making impacts on the Northeast. Peak storm surge map hasn't really changed much. 3 to 5 feet for pretty much the entire coast of Florida, even going into Georgia. We could see 3 to 5 feet of storm surge along that coastline there. North Palm Beach could possibly see up 3 to 5 feet of storm surge as well. 2 to 4 feet of storm surge for around the Hallandale Beach area. Ocean Reef and Biscayne Bay could possibly see around 1 to 2 feet of storm surge. As you can see, the back side of this could definitely impact Tampa Bay as well. 1 to 30 feet of storm surge for Tampa Bay. And just north of the Tampa coastline, possibly some of that 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, which definitely could bring a little bit of impacts to the western side of Florida as well. Flash flooding potential throughout the next 3 days. As you can see, the entire peninsula of Florida is pretty much under that slight risk for flash flooding, which means you could definitely see a decent chance you might see some flash flooding, even if it's a life-threatening flash flooding in some localized areas, especially near this area right here, where a lot of that rainfall coming up ashore, just continuous rainfall could lead to some significant flooding in some areas. And again, that rainfall is going to be circulating around, so we're just going to continue to see rainfall as it slowly moves over Florida into Georgia into South Carolina. Again, most of that rainfall is going to be seeing just north of Orlando, and I think that this is pretty much right near the Daytona Beach area. So Daytona Beach could definitely see some significant rainfall amounts, upwards of 6 to 10 inches of rainfall there, according to this rainfall map. Yellow could possibly see some of that 4 to 6 inch rainfall range, which is also significant in some localized spots. And then dark green, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, still possible flash flooding in some spots. And lime green is not that bad, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. For advisory 6 at about 10 a.m., this is the key messages for Tropical Storm Nicole. Hurricane conditions and a dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of the northwestern Bahamas on Wednesday, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Hurricane conditions are expected across portions of the coast of southeast and east central Florida beginning late Wednesday or Wednesday night, where hurricane warning has been issued. Tropical storm conditions are expected in tropical storm warning areas in Florida and Georgia beginning early Wednesday. Now, this is where it gets interesting. A dangerous storm surge is expected along much of the east coast of Florida and portions of the coastal Georgia, where a storm surge warning is in effect. The storm surge will be accompanied by a large and damaging waves. Residents in the warning area should listen to advice given by local officials. Looking at Tropical Storm Nicole's model intensity guidance, this will continue strengthening into possibly that weak hurricane status, and then making landfall right after that. So definitely a weak Category 1 hurricane I am expecting from this, but it definitely won't last long as that hurricane, mainly staying as a very wide and a very large tropical storm impacting Florida. And even though it's just a tropical storm, some areas on the coastline areas, Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach, Cocoa Beach, St. Augustine, Palm Coast, could all be impacted here. Melbourne, Palm Bay, pretty much anywhere south of the center should be fine with storm surge, as those winds will be heading away from the coastline. But again, anywhere north of the center, like especially the Daytona Beach area, could definitely be very impacted by some of this storm surge. Definitely won't be like Hurricane Ian storm surge, but definitely those coastal areas could definitely see some of those impacts. From the GFS model, this has a much more southern track, making landfall overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Looking at the CMC model, pretty much is the same track as the GFS model. Very similar to the National Hurricane Center track as well. And notice this, we also have our winter storm going on right at the same time as this, which could bring some of the first snowfall, especially in Minnesota, the Dakotas, even some severe weather possibility over there as well. So double weather events happening at the same time. And as you can see, that may also combine with that winter storm, which could be very interesting. Icon model pretty much the same track as both of the other models, GFS and CMC model. And European model, I think all these models are pretty much agreeing now. And European has a lot more of a similar track to the National Hurricane Centers, and kind of enters the Gulf just a little bit, bringing more storm surge to the Tampa Bay areas. If you did enjoy the video, want more of these updates, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on post notifications so you won't miss a single video or live stream on Hurricane Nicole. Like the video and share this with friends and family that do live in Florida, Georgia, or South Carolina that might be impacted. Also the Bahamas that might be impacted here majorly by Hurricane Nicole. But as always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.